Okay, I keep having to record this. I am so nervous. Take a deep breath, Lauren. You've got this. I've been wanting to start a podcast for so long, but I knew all of the work that it was going to entail. And I'm using an app called Riverside. And while I love it and I think it's going to be a game changer for me, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I've had to record this like 5 times. So we're going to get started. Welcome to The Strength to Bloom. I am Lauren Garcia Marsigliano, your host, but also a pediatric nurse practitioner, a mom, a wife, a daughter, a business owner, and your new Mrs. New Jersey International 2025. This podcast is for the women who are tired of surviving their successes. Peep my cue cards, okay? If you're watching this, how cute are these? I created this space because I needed it too. Because building the dream means absolutely nothing if we're too burnt out to live it. I know what it's like to carry the crown, show the wins, but still feel like your life is unraveling behind the scenes. And now you may be asking, why did you name it The Strength to Bloom? Or you may already know me and be like, this is so her. But there is a quote that I live by, and I want to share it with you guys because I think it's so powerful. And that's the things that bury you may also be the soil in which you bloom. And let's kind of dive deeper into that because I think that's what truly makes this name so powerful. And that's because before a seed can grow, it needs to be buried underground. And before it can bloom, it has to be weighed down by dirt. And before light can bring life, that seed needs to survive the stillness and the silence of the dark. And that's really why I called the platform Strength to Bloom, because I've lived that metaphor. And something tells me that you probably have too. Because the things that nearly broke me, grief, motherhood, caregiving, burnout, became the ground that I grew through. They didn't disappear, but they transformed me. And that's what this podcast is here to explore. And that's how women like you, like me, bloom in the dark, break through the soil, and grow into the light stronger than ever. Now we're going to get a little bit emotional because we're going to talk about my breaking point. And this is what I like to say that is the moment that changed everything for me. Because my dad had already been sick. I got married, became a mom, was pregnant again. But a few weeks before I gave birth to my daughter, we had to make the tough decision to intubate my dad. And just days before I was bringing her into this world, I felt like I was watching another person, somebody that I loved so deeply, begin to also slip away. Obviously, my dad had already been diagnosed with ALS, a terminal illness that takes everything except for your mind. And after nearly a year of not sharing it, kind of living this in silence, I finally shared my story publicly. And this was all because his brothers of the Gothenburg Police Department, they told me, like, you cannot do this alone. You know, your family cannot fight this fight alone. And they really pushed me because I really did not want to share. It felt like it was kind of like a moment of weakness to share those things because I never want to use it as a crutch, but it is a part of my story. And it's truly things that have shaped me into the person that's sitting here today recording this. When I shared it publicly, it had to have been the hardest moment of my life because people kind of had an idea of what was going on, but they didn't know everything that was happening. So it was hard. But at the same time, it was kind of enlightening. It was empowering. It truly felt like the beginning of my healing process. Because there's something about these diseases, like that anticipatory grief for something terminal, because I know what the end result is going to be. I just don't know when. And I truly feel like if I would have kept this in silence for much longer, I would have broken down. And I start to think about the things that I've done, right? I've built businesses, my first one being at the age of 16. I've hosted multiple events and I've seen my name in press. And realistically, I was achieving all of the things that I once dreamed about. I built a community of women who not only supported one another, but supported me. And even then, sometimes I would find myself sitting alone and just being like, is this it? Is this going to be it? Like, I'm never going to be able to share this with my dad. He had never been to a Bloom event ever because he got sick around the same time I started. And it was so hard to kind of realize that's my truth. So realistically, I was smiling, I was performing, I was over delivering, but truly not living. Like, I felt like my world stopped and everybody's life was just happening. And I felt like I could just scream and nothing would happen. Like, no one would hear me. I was burnt out. I was disconnected and I was hiding it all behind like a perfectly curated Instagram. And I'm going to tell you that obviously sharing it was like a moment that changed things for me. But one thing that I decided to do this year really opened me up, and that was joining a pageant. I got on a phone call with our director, Mary, or Mama Mary, and just the way that she made it sound was like, this is Bloom, but for me. Like, I was joining a sisterhood of women that I probably would have never met before, and it was going to be life-changing for me. And so I signed up. I went in with the intention to just show up authentically, do my best, and kind of happy that I was putting myself in an uncomfortable environment because I'm an introvert, extrovert kind of. And I don't know, it was so amazing, just the experience. And then obviously winning was something that I never thought would have happened, but did. And I got to share that with my mom, my kids, my husband, and my aunt, uncle, and little cousin, and my interns at Bloom. And I don't know, Mrs. New Jersey International, it gave me the space to pause, and in that pause, I saw myself again, not with like a title, not a founder, not a nurse practitioner, not the do-it-all woman. But as like somebody who was just human. And I realized that I truly needed to fill my own cup sometimes too, and allow other people to fill my cup as well. I truly believe that I was put on this planet to be of service for others, but there's only so much service that I could do if I am not taking care of myself. So it's not that the win like saved me, but it did slow me down enough to like finally see myself. And from that place, I started to ask myself, how do I want to live now? And today, June 2nd, the day that I'm recording this, I don't know if it's going to go live today, but the day that I'm recording this, it has been 3 months since Mrs. New Jersey International. And I can tell you that it has been life-changing. Appearances, photo shoots, being able to share my platform, raising money for ALS, things I couldn't even have dreamed of. And it's all because I joined this pageant. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about Mrs. International, the pageant system itself, in a later post, because I truly do believe that it needs its own post. But if you've ever felt like you were in this season of shifting, of becoming closer to who you are, I truly believe that something like this is life-changing for me, for you. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to message me. But I want to get into kind of like what I am changing and what I think I want us to do together. And number one is an energy audit. Okay. And so this is where we need to get clear on where our time, money, and energy is going to. Okay. Where it's going to, where it was going to, like we have to reevaluate like what was happening before as well. And then start cutting down things that don't feel aligned anymore. They could have felt aligned before, but it's just not happening anymore. And then number two is business realignment. And this can go for like somebody who has a career, a corporate job. But because I am also an entrepreneur, this was big for me because I have felt a little disconnected from my business. And it's not that I feel disconnected from my mission, because if there's one thing that I can say about me is how important staying aligned to my mission is and will always be. But it was the strategies that I was doing to carry out that mission. They were draining. And I just need to come from a place. It's like the power of the pivot, right? I want to continue. I know that what I've built is amazing and strong. And the women like me need something like Bloom. So I think it's just about evolving and just more systems, less hustle, less pressure to perform. So kind of just reevaluate like where you're at and where you want to go and what are the steps you need to get there. Number three are personal boundaries. This one's a hard one for me because I like to do everything. Like even in my business at the daycare, there is not a to-do list that I am not being a part of. And that's just crazy. Like I have to learn how to say no and delegate. And that is something that I am still working at and something that I invite you to continue to work on. I know that for the past 2 months, I have been shutting my laptop as soon as I get home and really just spending time with myself and my kids. And I have not felt any better. Like I feel so good when I'm home. And that is something that I am going to continue to do. And then last but not least is living small. I mean, oh my gosh, living soft, not small. So basically, I am letting softness be my strategy. Have you guys ever heard of like that soft girl era? I am a component. Like I do believe that hustling is necessary, is important, but not hustling to the point of burnout. Okay. I am definitely a hustler by nature. I need to be doing something at all times, but sometimes like slowing down too and kind of seeing like your wins and really basking in them also is really amazing. So I truly feel like I can be gentle and still be powerful. So I just feel like I'm going to let softness take over and be my power move for this year. And then the nitty gritty, right? Of why this podcast exists. So for me, the Strength to Bloom isn't just a title. And truly, it's not just a platform. It's a truth. It's my truth. Okay. It's a reminder that your softness is not a weakness. It's your superpower. Your survival is not just like a side note. It's your soil. And your story is not over. It's just blooming. Okay. This podcast is going to hold space for this shift. Each week, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of my own journey, personally and in business, and I will be sharing the mic with incredible women who are blooming through it too. Entrepreneurs, mothers, creatives, leaders, daughters, dreamers. I am so excited to have this platform because it's not just about sharing my story. My story is important, right? And I love to share it and hopefully reach somebody, but my story may not be your story. And this platform is also here to share that, because I feel like once we start kind of being okay with sharing these vulnerable parts about us, it just makes the number one, the world a better place, easier to build that sisterhood. And it kind of allows other women who are going through heavy things feel like they're able to come out of that darkness and bloom. So we're going to talk about motherhood, about grief, business strategy, community building, burnout, boundaries, and the strength it takes to keep choosing yourself. So if you've ever felt like no one sees what you're carrying, I want you to know that I do. And if you have a story to share, if you've ever bloomed through something super heavy, I want to hear it. And I know that this audience, because they're listening to this podcast, wants to hear it too. They want to support you. They want you to be a part of their sisterhood. And I invite you to go to thebloomsocialclub.com strength dash to dash bloom to share that story with me and be a part of this movement. I will obviously post a link everywhere so it's easier to get to. But if you liked this episode and if you are excited, just as excited as I am to hear more, to hear from other women, please follow the show. Please subscribe. Please like. Please comment. Please share with somebody who kind of needed this message today. Root for me. Let me root for you. And let's bloom together. We recorded our first episode. It was supposed to go in front. Let's do that again. We recorded our first episode. Wow. Exciting. All right, now we're going to edit. We're going to post this, and we are going to get started with interviews of the most incredible women ever. I'm so excited to have you a part of this journey.